Hey everyone, welcome back to Installation 00, and more specifically, welcome to the Armory. This is where all weapons from Halo lore will be featured and analysed in detail, and in this episode we look at a more exotic weapon that has only recently made light in the field of battle, and begin a more detailed look at the Forerunner arsenal. Today we look at the Heatwave. Let's begin. Once employed by Forerunner warrior servants, the Heatwave is a robust, hard light projector that fires multiple energized shards which can effectively slice through living creatures while bouncing off of dense terrain or architecture. Equipped with alternate firing modes, the Heatwave was favoured by the Skitarii Naval Infantry Forces and, like most Forerunner small arms, is constructed via Ferrarius assembler vats, which themselves are a fascinating method of manufacture. The Heatwave is a weapon of Forerunner design, but with an overall familiar profile and method of operation in spite of its alien design. It is equipped with two different firing modes, allowing its user to tune the weapon's variable impact geometry on demand. When in the first firing mode, both sides of the front cowling are extended outward and it fires 6 projectiles in a horizontal pattern, enabling broad suppressive fire, the ability to fire blindly around corners and still have a high chance of striking a target, and a particular proclivity to fill tight corridors and spaces with projectiles that refract and ricochet off of hard surfaces. The second firing mode has the side cowlings retract inward to fire the 6 projectiles in a vertical diamond-like pattern, grouping the projectiles into a much tighter firing pattern, then approximating the pattern and destructive capabilities of a shotgun. These modes can be switched between extremely rapidly, and the weapon's high rate of fire make it a particularly effective close-range weapon both against armoured and unarmoured targets, in spite of the relatively low damage per individual projectile. Since the weapon fires 6 rounds per shot, the damage compounds rapidly and translates to a significant level of damage capability. The Heatwave actually measures 40.3 inches or 102 centimeters in length, 10.6 inches or 26.9 centimeters in height, and varies between 5.1 inches or 13 centimeters and 6.7 inches or 17 centimeters in width, based on its firing mode and thus the extension or contraction of the weapon's cowling. As previously mentioned, the Heatwaves were constructed in the Ferrarius assembler vats, which were nanofabrication facilities utilised by the Forerunners to construct all manner of tools and structures used frequently by the Ecumene Council and wider Forerunner society. Assembler vats ranged in size and complexity from very small machines used to manufacture personal items to moon-sized foundries capable of constructing entire shield worlds and space stations. The Ferrarius assembler vats rated on the smaller side of the assembler vat designations. Instructions and construction templates on how to build a Heatwave were fed into the machines for mass replication in the form of a design seed constructed by a pattern weaver. Due to their nanoscale construction using smart matter, items created in the assembly vats can be replicated down to the atom, allowing them to create items with perfect forms and symmetry, meaning that every single Heatwave constructed is an exact, down to the atomic scale, copy of the original design pattern. The weapon fires purple shards of hard light. We're going to need to dive a little bit to understand this part. Hard light actually covers a very broad spectrum of applications and states of matter that enable hard light to perform the tasks it is designed for. For the sakes of simplicity, we're going to ignore most of the applications in favour of the manner of which this video is focused. I may revisit hard light for a most detailed archive video at a later date. Let me know in the comments if you want me to do that. Hard light is an exotic material brought about by the interactions of normally massless particles of light, the photon, and a mass-assigning boson of indescript nature. This interaction gives rise to photon particles that actually have mass. The very nature of light, travelling at the speed of light and being incapable of impacting solid objects and causing damage, destruction, fission or fusion, is only possible due to its lack of mass. suddenly assigning mass to photons means that they no longer pass seamlessly through mediums like the vacuum of space, gases and liquids. In fact, they actually displace other particles and molecules in their field, and due to the emitted particle density, this renders whatever medium they are travelling through solid. This is why hard light bridges operate the way that they do on Forerunner constructs. The sophisticated optical projection technologies emit a dense field of mass-laden photons that shove the air clear of their path, and their sheer density and their mass of particles renders them solid enough to interact with other objects passing over the field via the strong nuclear force, the very force that prevents the atoms of solid objects fusing instantly upon contact. For the use in weaponry, this has some remarkable benefits. The projectiles are selectively emitted, as easily as turning on a light, where the boson-photon field render the projectile as a solid object from the conversion of energy to photons with mass, and these are then ejected from the weapon at immense speed, thereby fulfilling its role as a lethal projectile, interacting as would be expected with the air as the projectile travels through it, even ricocheting off of hard surfaces. However, when the rounds encounter flesh, the projectile alters their tuned state to slice through the target and dump immense energy in the form of heat and energetic excitation into the target, meaning a lethal shot often results in the complete disintegration and carbonization of the target. To reload the weapon's magazine, the weapon only needs to be charged, which the Forerunners have enabled by having the weapon carry a tiny vacuum energy power plant that can effectively pull energy from the quantum foam and the normal procession of virtual particles blinking in and out of existence. This effectively gives the weapon a near infinite energy supply, and thus a near infinite ammunition capacity. The Heatwave thrives in tight spaces where the target has very few places to seek cover. The horizontal spread grants the wielder the ability to fire upon multiple targets simultaneously and do so with several closely timed shots that could, in practice, result in several lethal strikes at the same time. Firing modes can be switched and changed extremely rapidly, allowing the user to focus fire on priority targets with a moment's notice, and its hard light projectiles and vacuum energy source make it basically a bottomless clip weapon. Oh, and what with the disintegration of the target, the weapon also cleans up after itself. The projectile spread and unexpected angles of refraction and ricochet make the weapon significantly less useful at medium to long range. In fact, in most cases it makes it almost utterly useless. While the angles of the projectile refraction and ricochet can be estimated by a talented wielder, it is never a dead certainty that the projectiles will bounce around corners or into tight spaces where enemies could be hiding, and even then if they do, the subsequent ricochets dramatically reduce the possibility that any of the projectiles will actually land a hit, let alone score a kill. All in all, the Heatwave is a remarkably powerful weapon in close spaces and tight quarters, being equally capable of suppression fire and damaging multiple targets at the same time, as well as focusing fire onto singular targets for devastating levels of damage, with tight grouped multi-projectile shots. When employed alongside team members who can weaken shields and soften up targets, the Heatwave can dispense of several targets in extremely quick succession, making its application in close quarters combat a highly prized weapon. Thanks for watching. Stick your comments down below and I look forward to what you have to say. And quick shout outs and thank yous to my patrons: Spartan 10148, my devastatingly effective Metarch class ancilla; Silver Spartan, Leon, Ram, Prophet Bear and Irrefutable Justice, my ever-vigilant monitors; the careful tending of Alvin, Andrew, Brian, Cameron, Darian, Devon, Phantom, Flaming Halo, Cabal, Legions Lost, Michael, Spartan 0137, the Cave Potato and Wolf Eclipse, my sub-monitors, my growing fleet of Strato Sentinels, and my most loyal of enforcers, and all my awesome Sentinels, Sentries and Constructors who have jumped aboard on Patreon to help support the channel. You have my debt of gratitude. And, as ever, Todd Morrison, my Tier 0 Transcendent YouTube member. Thanks for keeping my installation running on that glorious vacuum energy. Remember to like, comment and subscribe, as it all helps the channel grow and helps me to continue to deliver this kind of content for you guys. And if you're ready for your next steps in evolution, head over to Patreon and become a patron there, or become a YouTube member to attain a higher state of being. Much love to all of you, take it easy everyone, and find peace in the domain.